Okay, I have some news here about the Unity game engine. They have done some changes to their fees structures, and this I consider to be really bad for game players and developers. The reason being is they are in a way double dipping, and the way this is being done is you got your normal plans here that I'm showing on screen, where you have your student hobbyist, which is free until you make like 100,000 K in the last 12 months, and then you have your individuals and teams, which is $2,040 for a year with a 30-day trial, and that's fine. I understand that. That's good. That's understandable. But what they've done is they've added in a now runtime fee. And what this runtime fee is every time they have an install of a game using the Unity game engine, they charge the developer. And here's the breakdown structure of it and how it all works. Basically, they're charging small developers 20 cents per every install. Anyone using the Personal and Unity Plus plan. Now, the bigger developers that can afford to pay that $2,000 or more and use Unity Pro actually get 15% per install starting, but can drop all the way down to 2 cents if they're getting a bunch of installs. Then there's the enterprise, which drops it down to 12.5 cents all the way down to 1 cent per install. So the bigger your game is, the more popular your game is, you're paying less, but you're still paying the fees for these different versions of Unity that you're using. And Unity came back and made some statements about this. They've stated that it's for the initial install per device. So if you have an Xbox, a PlayStation, a PC, a Steam Deck, and that game is on all of those devices and you install it on each of those devices, the developer gets charged for each device it's on. However, the reinstalls are not charged. If the game is on a pass, like the Xbox Game Pass, the developer is not charged. This I still see as wrong for both game players and developers. And the reason being is small independent game developers that are using Unity Personal or Unity Plus, the lower cost version of Unity, because they don't have much money. They're a solo developer or a small team that are scrapping together their own money to build this game. When they launch, they're not going to have much money to be able to afford these install fees. It's cutting into their profits, which cuts into their chance of growth. And that's bad for the developer. A lot of game developers have already stated their thoughts on this, and they state that they do not like this. And that is because, like I said, it cuts into their profits, but it makes it a lot harder for them to build the business. It makes it to where they're having to change what they're doing. Some game developers who already have their games out there are stating that they are taking their games down as of January 1st of 2024 when this takes effect, because they cannot afford to pay these fees and it's going to cost too much. Now you're asking, how does this affect you, the game player, if you just play games and you're not a developer? How this affects you, as the previous statement of a game being taken down. If you're looking at getting the game and waiting to get the money, and you're going to wait for, like, let's say your tax returns to come in and use your tax returns to buy that game may not be available anymore because the developer had to take it down. Let's say a game is in development by a game developer using Unity. They're having to look at things, refigure things out, and make some changes. And the two changes that I can see that they can make, actually, there's three. First off, they could just totally cut their losses and say, you know what, we're just going to have to drop the project. And the game's not going to release because it's going to take them too much time to switch over to another game engine. They don't have the finances to be able to do the per install agreement and stuff like that. They've already spent their money on other things. The other thing that could happen is they could say, well, we have to raise the price of our game due to this issue because it's going to take us too long to switch over to another game engine, and we don't want to drop the project. We want to continue on with making this game. The third option is they can state that there's going to be a delay in the game. And with that being, that delay, depending on how far along in the project they are, could be short or it could be really long. If they're just getting started and just starting on the coding and building of the world, it's going to be a short delay. If they're almost done with the project, that's a huge change because now they have to look at other game engines. They have to figure out what's another game engine that would be a good fit for them. Is it going to be RPG Maker? Is it going to be Godot? Is it going to be the Unreal Engine and things like this, where the pricing structure is better for them with the changes of what Unity has done? And in all honesty, that's a huge change because that's a rewrite of a lot of the code that they've done. And they may be using the same coding language of C# or Java, but the classes and the libraries and things like that are going to be different, which means a lot of changes to the code that they have to go through to make it work with the game engine. And then also on top of that, Unity is known to be very open and allow you to make whatever type of game you want, whether it's 3D, 2D, you can create your own shading engines very easily and a lot of different things like that. It is an open source sandbox type of game engine, whereas game engines like RPG Maker is 2D. So you're stuck in that 2D platform. You can't really do 3D in it. Then there's the Unreal Engine. The Unreal Engine is specifically originally made to do first-person shooters. The Unreal games that came out a long time ago was what was designed for. Yes, you can do other games with it, but it takes a lot of manipulating and things like that. And so that takes a long time to figure those things out if you're not doing a first-person shooter. That's how it affects you as a game player. Now, if you're thinking, well, I play free-to-play games, it still affects you. And the way it can affect you is you could see an increase in the price of the in-game purchases for real cash. You can see that jump in price happen if they're using the Unity game engine. You might see that happen in games Albion Online. And so with that, you really gotta figure things out. And both for game developers and for players. Me personally, I use the Unity game engine a lot for over 10 years. It was my go-to game engine because it gave so much freedom in what I could do and quick prototyping and building and stuff like that. I personally am dropping the Unity game engine. I'm moving over into Unreal. And the reason I chose Unreal is I already understand and know how to use it. I was taught Unreal in college along with Unity. And so those are the two game engines I know really well. The reason I didn't go with the Unreal Engine was back in that time, in around 2010, Unity, you bought and paid a one-time fee per each seat you needed of the Unity or the Unreal game engine. And that was very, very expensive. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars. Unity was free and only charged you after you made so much money. So Unity was the better bet. However, things have changed in that 10 years. Unreal has gone with a subscription model, and a really good one of a free to use. Look right here. You have the standard license, which is get started for free, build the game, and then they charge you once you made a certain amount of money. And it's only 5%, which is really, really good. And then on top of that, they have the enterprise program, which is $1,500 per seat. That is per year. And that's really good because that's a discount cost of what they originally had for the cost per seat 10 years ago. And then, of course, there's the custom license, which you have to talk to them and negotiate that out. Compared to what you're paying with Unity of their pro version of $2,040, that's twice the amount. You're already saving money going with Unity, which is why I'm personally switching Unreal. And with going with Unreal, you get this longtime developer that's made this insanely strong game engine, very reliable game engine. Unity is good, it's more flexible in what it's able to do, but it costs you more. And with that being said, this double dipping of where they're charging you per install is just a money grab, and I don't like it. They've gone to being, we're all about helping the indie developer to, we are all about screwing over the indie developer. And that's not great. I don't know why these companies that make these game engines and these game mechanics and allow you to use them are now moving to this whole entire direction of let's charge more. Look at the OGL for Wizards of the Coast, for Dungeons and Dragons. They went to go do a change, and there was a huge backlash on that. Unity should have looked at that and gone, wait, we need to not go this direction. We are going to get the same backlash. Nope, they didn't. They just ignored that, said, let's get the money, let's get the money. Well, they're not going to get the money. And the reason being is there's also a protest out there to shut down the whole entire thing of Unity's ads. And that's where if you're making a game with Unity and you're doing a game for free where you're making money off of the ads and you're using Unity's ad feature in your game, which just makes it easier, a lot of developers are shutting that off. And that's going to cost you in protest. And that's going to cost Unity money. A lot of developers are taking down their games. And that's going to cost Unity money. A lot of game developers are switching from Unity to another game engine. And that's going to cost Unity money. Unity is literally going to hurt after this, in my thoughts. So, if you're playing a game or wanting to get a game that uses Unity, you want to check to see if they're going to stop selling the game or they're going to put a halt on their game and change to another game engine. And that might disrupt your gameplay. Who knows what Albion Online is going to do with this whole entire thing? Because they are on a lot of different platforms. You can play on mobile phone devices, tablets, PC, a bunch of different areas. And that's going to affect their bottom line because they're a free to play game with in-game purchases. And so you're either going to see prices change. You're going to see a halt in enhancements and developments and patches as they go to switch to another game engine. Who knows what direction they're going to take? I don't think they'll take the direction of they're going to shut down, because they are a very popular game. I think they're either going to rise some of their prices, take the hit on themselves, or they're going to switch game engines. I think those are their three big options for a big company like that. Overall, that is my thoughts on the Unity debacle that is going on right now. I want you guys to comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of this price change that Unity has done. Do you think it's fair? I personally don't, but your opinion is yours, and I still want to hear it. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.